You are not going to feel like it today. Maybe you didn't feel like it yesterday either. Maybe this whole week has been one of those stretches where the energy is flat, the motivation is nowhere to be found, and the gap between who you want to be and how you actually feel right now seems impossibly wide. Maybe you woke up this morning heavy. Maybe the enthusiasm that carried you through the early days of your goals has worn thin, and what's left is just the raw, unglamorous question of whether you are going to show up anyway. That question, are you going to show up anyway, is the most important question in the pursuit of anything worth having. And today, I want to give you an honest answer to it. Welcome to Motivation Daily. This is March 19th, and today we are talking about the uncomfortable truth that separates the people who get where they want to go from the people who don't. The mountain doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care that you're tired. It doesn't care that the week has been hard, that the results haven't come yet, that you don't feel inspired, that the version of you who started this journey was running on enthusiasm that has since run dry. The mountain simply sits there, patient, indifferent, exactly as steep as it was yesterday, waiting to see what you are going to do. And here is the thing about mountains. They are not moved by how you feel about them. They are only moved by whether you climb. We have been sold a version of success that is built on feeling, on inspiration striking, and motivation flowing with such force that the hard work barely feels hard. And sometimes, in the early days of a new goal, in the honeymoon phase of a new commitment, that is actually how it feels. The energy is there. The excitement is real. Getting started doesn't require much because the novelty is doing the heavy lifting for you. But novelty fades. It always fades. And what is left after it fades is the true test, not of your talent, not of your potential, not of whether your goal was the right one, but of your relationship with discomfort, of whether you are the kind of person who does the work only when the work feels good, or the kind of person who does it regardless. Most people are the first kind. They show up when the sun is out and the energy is high and the progress is visible and the feedback is encouraging. And there is nothing wrong with that. It is deeply human. But it also means that most people stop exactly at the point where the real progress begins. Because the real progress, the kind that changes you permanently, that builds the foundation of something lasting, almost always lives on the other side of the days when you didn't feel like it but did it anyway. Think about what actually happens on the days you push through without feeling it. Think about how different you feel at the end of those days compared to the days you gave in. The workout you almost skipped but completed, does it feel worse than the one you were excited for? The work session you dragged yourself to but finished, does it leave you with less than the session you entered with energy? Almost never. Almost universally, the act of doing the thing regardless of how you feel about doing it produces more satisfaction, more momentum, and more self-respect than waiting until the feeling arrives. Because the feeling follows the action, not the other way around. This is one of the most practically important things I can tell you. Motivation is not the ignition, it is the exhaust. It is what comes out after you start moving, not what gets you moving in the first place. If you wait to feel motivated before you act, you will be waiting a very long time on a very large number of days. But if you act first, if you start the climb, regardless of the weather inside your head, the motivation tends to show up somewhere in the middle, quietly, almost as if it was there all along and just needed you to begin. So what does this look like in practice? How do you climb when every part of you wants to sit at the base? You make the task smaller, not the goal, the task. You do not say, I need to run 5 miles today and feel the full weight of that when you can barely lace your shoes. You say, I am going to put on my shoes and walk to the end of the block. Just that, just the next smallest possible move. Because movement creates momentum, and momentum creates the conditions for the motivation you were waiting for to finally arrive. You remove the negotiation. The moment you start bargaining with yourself, maybe I'll do half, maybe I'll do it tomorrow, maybe this one day off won't matter, you have already lost the most important battle. Because it is never about one day. It is about the identity you are building or eroding with every decision. Every time you keep the promise to yourself, you become more of the person who keeps promises. Every time you break it, the next break gets slightly easier to justify. Remove the negotiation. The answer is already decided. You climb. And finally, you remember why. Not the vague, inspiring version of why, the real one, the one that lives in your gut, not your head. The reason that on your best days makes everything worth it, and on your worst days is the only thing that keeps you moving. Keep that reason close. Write it somewhere you'll see it on the days the fog rolls in, because the fog will roll in, and when it does, you need the why to be louder than the mood. The mountain is still there. It will be there tomorrow too, and the day after that. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel inspired. You don't have to feel like the version of yourself who started this climb with fire in their chest. You just have to climb. One step, right now, regardless. If today is one of those days where you needed this reminder, share it with someone who's staring at their own mountain right now. Subscribe to Motivation Daily. We show up every day so you remember to show up too. Drop a comment and tell me, what is the mountain in front of you today, and what is the one next step you're going to take? Let's climb together. See you tomorrow. Keep going.